Start clicking and see we're actually live at this very moment.
Very nice.
So, why don't we? Who's doing the other one?
Oh, Mr. Brett's going to read Proposition.
Oh, okay, so why don't you do this, then he'll do that, and we'll get underway, ladies and gentlemen. Give yourselves a round of applause. Give this man a round of applause. Give him a square of applause, a rectangle, or a parallelogram of applause.
Welcome to Sacred Grounds with Dan Brady as the current host of this, the longest running open mic in the known and unknown universe. Serving up good food and fine poetry since 1972. Let's have a big hand for Teddy in the back, everybody, our host. Thank you for that. Teddy, thank you for everything. We love you. And please support this reading by enjoying the food and drinks served here. Please respect the mic. Keep conversations to a whisper. Put devices on mute, vibrate, or airplane mode, please. Tonight's feature is
Kevin Ekis. He's not in the house, but he should be, will be.
Kevin Ekis, who will give the Queen's Wave wherever he is. We'll give it for him. There we go. The keynote will be...
The keynote is Owen Dunkel, who is in the house.
Owen Dunkel, the keynote, everybody. So we'll be hearing from Owen real soon. While the mini feature is
Clyde.
Fucking truly, Clyde Owens, the part of the lower. Hey, pleasure to be here. Thanks for being here. Everybody, don't go anywhere. My set's coming up a lot later.
Yes.
And the last word will be...
Elizabeth Alford, who is not here, but she may well be. My
dear Liz. Liz ought to be on her way.
Yes, thank you.
Please note the link. Streaming is handy in many ways. If you can't be here, you can view in Ustream. If you want someone to see you live, they'll be able to.
Yes.
Want to hear so-and-so's poem again? Well, you can. Want to do a self-critique? No problemo. More importantly, it is a way to put out the word. I refer to the ongoing theme, never doubt that a small group of committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has, said Margaret Mead.
Thank you.
Tonight's theme is...
Tonight's theme, the particular theme, oh my gosh, I forgot to put it in here. I can't remember. Let's do with that.
We have no theme. How about that? It's anarchy tonight.
Anarchy.
Whatever the hell you want to do, you better do it. Yes. Fabulous door prizes are...
we have several fabulous door prizes, mine with your mind in mind. A Week in the Zen Life, San Francisco Taxi, book number 1 by Alex Sack. Just in case you know Alex.
Yeah.
I don't know Alex. This is Ethereal, very nice book by Phil Chiara. What's that name, Chiara?
Very good.
Photographs, poetry, a little bit of prose, very nice.
Who wouldn't want that?
Who wouldn't want that? Despite the Shadow by Bridget, not Bridget, Bridget Talman. Now, I don't know anything about this person, but the print is very nice, and the quality is nice, very nice. This is 2 books in one. Notice the back cover and the front cover.
Yeah.
This is Bob Dewhurst's The Pinwheel Turns a Kiss. Classic. He's read some of these here before. People have screamed and hollered for more. Then we got I Did Not Go Looking for This by P.W. Covington. And I don't think he did go looking for this, because I wouldn't go looking for that. And if you're a music buff or fan, you have something about, you have the Gypsy Kings and an Evening in Tuscany with such famous songs as I Wish I Were Italian, I Wish I Wasn't Italian, My Mom's Italian. No, I'm only kidding. And then, did I do them all? Oh, yeah. And then if none of those float your boat, as we like to say, you can be the mini feature, which you'll see him doing later on.
Yeah.
The Last Word with Elizabeth Alford, who should be here, could be here, may be here, will be here. The Co-Pilot, which he is also doing because the Co-Pilot couldn't be here, but he took the place, so that's fine. Choosing next week's theme, which someone did, and I forgot to write it here.
Whoops.
And then the keynote, which Owen will be doing in just a moment. There you have it.
Yes, and last, if you wish to record someone, please ask permission. I will assume that you've done so, should I notice recordings being made.
Thank you.
Thus concludes the opening announcements. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And now we'll hear from Red, coming up here to read the infamous Proposition 1 of fame, note, measure, and something. We'll get back to me on that.
Proposition 1.
Thank you, dear.
Whereas warfare is the worst of all crimes in that it embodies, encourages, and rewards all others. Whereas the definition of war, as used at the Nuremberg trials, is meet for the purposes of this proposition. Therefore, we, the party of the first part, all citizens of any nation, all those who suffer from the effects and privations of war, who oppose it as a system, as a behavior, as a socially accepted institution, call for an end to war, Cessation?
Yeah, you nailed it.
War cessation of all.
Cessation.
Yeah, there you go.
Of all hostilities, the standing down of all military forces, and universal disarmament. Further, let it be known, we the people, the party of the first part, state by our assertion at this time and place that we stand opposed to the existence or use of military force as we now know it. All those in favor of Proposition 1, please signify.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Opposed.
Nay.
Okay.
Abstentions.
And abstentions.
Abstention.
Okay.
Okay, so it passes yet again.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. Well read. Thank you. All right. All right. So we will begin this evening. Mr. Clyde always is my co-pilot for the evening, and Owen Dunkel, as you are the keynote, will you kindly rise to the occasion, come forward, and take the mic in hand and manhandle it. No, never mind. Give him a round of applause. Give him a round of applause.
Hey, everybody hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. As my keynote poem, I'll be reading poem called The Snowman by Wallace Stevens. One must have a mind of winter to regard the frost and the boughs of the pine trees crusted with snow, and have been cold a long time to behold the junipers shagged with ice. The spruce is rough in the distant glitter of the January sun, and not to think of any misery in the sound of the wind, in the sound of the few leaves, which is the sound of the land, full of the same wind that is blowing in the same bare place for the listener, who listens in the snow, and, nothing himself, beholds nothing that is not there, and the nothing that is. Okay, thank you very much.
So, Wallace Stevens, right?
Right.
So I wrote it. Usually I would hand the poet this so they could write that down, but The Snowman by Wallace Stevens, I understand that. All right, now the first person, Greg Pond is under the now. The first person on the open mic is Buford Bunton. Then we got Owen Dunkel coming back for the open. Louis, we got Edward, we got Al, we got me, we got Keith, and then as our feature, but we also have Brett, Melissa, and Clyde, and Elizabeth on the list of things to do.
Okay.
Thank you. And give a round of applause for Buford Bunton. Buford! Yeah, here we go.
Louis requested that I write some more about my ex-wife, so I have one. It's harder to do that now because I'm not in love with her anymore. For a long time I was, even after we were divorced for a long time. But, I probably still am, but I'm forgetting things, and that's good. This is called Karen. My ex-wife changed my life substantially. I had been a 31-year-old lifetime bachelor when I ran into her when she was a kindergarten teacher and I was a substitute in her classroom at Parkside Nursery School, still near Terraville Street on 19th Avenue. She was and is, I assume, an aggressive, beautiful woman. It was not a great day when she left 19 years and 9 months into the marriage. After all that time, or actually during it, we lived on both sides of the United States, in Alabama, Georgia, and northern and southern California. I miss her still.
There we go. Something cheerful.
Okay.
and then I'll tell a joke.
Oh, good.
After you get the
that's
cheerful
that's
one.
hella good, man.
Yeah. Oh,
As my students might say,
hella good.
hella good. Okay, I'm sorry.
Buford, don't worry. You're beautiful and wonderful. We are appreciating everything.
Oh,
you
thank
say.
you, thank you. Great.
Great ankle.
I like that. I like. Oh, here we go.
There we go.
This is when I was a little boy, growing up in Mobile, Alabama, around 1955 to 1958 or so. I looked up at bathroom doors, and they said, quote, colored, unquote, and quote, white, unquote. The signs were very high. I first went to an integrated school in 1965. It was just sparsely integrated in the 10th grade, where 2 or 3 students out of a class of over 30 in Spanish class were African American. The rest were white. My career as a paraprofessional was spread out from 1978 to 79 in the San Francisco Unified School District, and after 30 years I returned to work in those schools. I started out as a substitute this time around, and a little over 4.5 years later became a staff paraeducator. The students I've worked with here have been primarily African American, Latino, and Asian. There has been parent and even grandparent participation when working at Balboa High School with my physically and developmentally disabled students. I think that we can interrupt patterns of oppression, or at least begin by seeing human beings rather than students of color. I try to do this daily.
So the first poem he read had reminded me of something my parents used to do. They had these really cutting kind of humor which they both enjoyed. And one of them was, my dad would come home and say, "Did you miss me?" And my mom would say, "With every shot so far." And I thought, yeah, Mom, that's great. I like it. And they would both laugh. They thought it was riotously funny. All right, so Owen, you're coming back to the Open. The mini feature always comes back for the Open because they do someone else's work when they do the keynote. They come back to do their own. So give them another round of applause. Owen's up here. And we got Lewis, Edward, Al, me, Greg, and then we'll see what happens in the due course. Thank you. I appreciate everything you did, no matter what anybody tells me.
Okay, I'll
All right.
read from some parts of my chapbook.
All right. Tide Sung Outcry, right?
Tide Sung Outcry.
There you go.
That's right. That's the name of it.
All right.
Autumn. Only the starlings wear our sun, half furnished succulently by dead calm. We enjoy today the air's graceful balm we take to heaven. Joy be he done. We know kindness, bitterness, run back to naught but our song, sung aloud to every benighted dawn, strutting fretfully along, alive to none but the spirit I speak of, lived up to Thalia our muse. We want to try to give back to heaven. We call a truce with the imagination. We try bright as the moon we talk to and cry. Villanelle, to stay the night. My candle burns at both ends, blows the way to stay the night, asks the morrow to make the mends. I know it does the way to send my soul to stay to the right. My candle burns at both ends. In half my garments I do rend, the day of rain and cunning might, ask the morrow to make amends. 2 letters whipped up bend Thursday's wreath, my soul contrite, my candle burns at both ends. Torn cases a man does find a way, flimsy, flows like a kite, asks tomorrow to make amends. My soul spinning my head spinning queasily, does wind its slow way towards the fallen light. My candle burns at both ends, asks tomorrow to make amends. Eli's Fort. A cold, suggestive San Francisco summer fell down forever over the sun and the sea. The fog pipers mourn of merriment and the wassels that have come and gone. Beyond the breakers that are the last remnant of word head over heels, love and connoisseurship, we may surely exhibit to the remaining tradesmen, wondering where our conscience, yes, can say concerning elf breath. I want more elf breath. Then the beauty or glorious still stoic nakedness can pant and paint and sing out to the sea. The Flying Dutchman. Feelings ago you opened your staring eyes to heaven. You make weeks of still seeing the burnished seas of paradise, gazing to the Lord of heaven calling its chains, straining notes of feeling filling the room with orchestras of fervor and beauty, hands open to the scarlet promises reaching, hands his Lorelei clasping her mourning back to her dark staring soul, arias leaping to the ages of heaven and hell and heaven back again to their divided eternity. His face in the crowd. Day-long full song strides fall around, capsized wretches choose their maker. The blue dauphin seizes its taker. The sky, black and brown, full pall ground, autumn the starry penury, sound all heavens make when they soul shaker, hungry sunrises across heaven, Quaker deeds we fawn over and gadget wound down like a clock from hell, and order God's crow to deny, as those of mermaid's damsel hotcher. Border of boisterous chivalry, junk song rice, snowdrifts of disdain, caution we cry heavenward, our penance eye proud dry.
Thank you, Mr. Owen. Give him a round, please. Owen down the back on the mic. All right. And now, Louis, who is back after some long time. Give him a round of applause as he comes up here. Zane, thank you very much. Zane is in the house. All right. And then make sure frame him. Yeah, Zane, we got you. We know you very well.
Okay, this is a 6.5 minute piece crunched down to 5.
Fear not.
So,
be brave.
let's see what we can do. Appropriately, I think it's called Burnout. So, see if I can turn the pages. Sometimes turning the pages is the biggest problem. They tend to stick together.
Good to see you, by the way.
Thank you. No. 4 months and 1 day, exactly. So,
wow.
Yeah, I did 4 more readings than I expected to, and came back from the Poetry Society in London, reading 3 times there.
Wow.
In addition to Paris.
Very nice.
Yeah. Burnout. I want my lives to be like dreams dreaming of dreams dreaming. We read in the basement of a small Paris cafe. The audience was responding enthusiastically, but nevertheless he felt tired. I want my lives to be a song of songs, pitch perfect, a frequency divine. He read passionately, but at the same time he wanted the whole thing to be over. I want my lives to be like first love, hearts beating, lips pressed, mouths mashing and eating each other. He could see the rapt eyes of the woman in the front row of listeners, but he felt his own energy subsiding. What was wrong with him? Would he have the strength to walk off stage when he finished reading, or would he just stand there waiting for someone to lead him away? And I want my life to tell the whole story from beginning to end, joy and madness, murder and gladness. What would he do if he could not move after the final line was read? What a way to end his short career as a poet. They were good lines, maybe the best he had ever written, but he was burned out in need of a change. Poetry had consumed him. He had given everything to it, and he had taken everything from it, leaving him empty. The train nudged out of Gare Austerlitz in Paris. He had done this trip before, and it always recharged him. In 7 hours to Toulouse, and another to La Tour de Carrel, then Puigcerdà across the border in Spain. But this time he found himself in a sleeping car, converted to a second-class passenger car with 5 other passengers. None spoke a word, and all but one were staring at that wrecking ball of personal communication, the smartphone. But at least he was spared the word cool, meaning the same in French as it does in English, and genial, the French equivalent of the English word awesome. He began thinking about poetry while staring out the window at the passing landscape. It was mostly lush farmlands dotted by occasional villages. The little groves of trees on nearly every farm pleased his eyes. He tried to shut off poetry, but had trouble stopping the flow. Between houses, spouses espousing, love spousing, lush green grass. What did that mean? Fields, folds, fresh cuts, slots, hay, new blooms doomed to blades of sharp steel, ruts of cows, sows, siblings sidling. Did he just like the sound? Land to river leaning bridge, crossing tipsy train tossing from side to side, and a quick look down into murky green water that does not move back. Did that mean anything at all? No frown treading, poetic fever abating, nonsense aiding and abetting, nonsense fleeing the jaws of reason. Have you lost your mind, you wonder? And another town crossing, turmoil tossing, people factory, furnace of fornication. Too many INGs, verbal impressionism has limits, Monet. Steeple down, clown not found, round midnight merry. Marry yourself, fool, but don't ask why, because the leaves are green and the boom car has boomed its final boom, and the organ grinder, having released his monkey from a life of slavery, plays for free at last. The monkey lives the monkey dream, and your dream, dreamer, is it any better? Because we're out in the country now, gone fishing, care left behind to care for itself, and the land is gently rising, devising a plan to ascend great granite peaks ahead. Don't look back, life's nothing but a tragedy on stage, and he knew that story backwards and forwards. Then down around bend after bend, rush of river rushing, meadow with a cow, barnyard birds scratching, hatching, firewood stacked below a flapping canvas cover, blue Hail Mary, hope, eternal suffering. Monet quit monetting the day away. Still heading down around another bend. The end is near, all is fear and free beer. Then the valley below, as the train straightens, slows, then come to a stop. No more rush and nudging out of stations. Then the end of one journey, and maybe the beginning of another, who knows or doesn't know. Start making sense, though, because the journey is coming to an end. Free beer? Between which a small girl with a long braid is waving, then hugging, her mother standing nearby, and a poetry man, better than letters, savoring syllable sounds, become just an ordinary person, teary-eyed and holding on to whatever hand he can. It's just about done here. I want my eyes to stretch themselves out like serpents' tongues. He heard himself saying in the basement of Oshot Noir. But not now, he told himself. He was tired, broken, and needed a way to put himself back together, or there would be no final act other than this one. Merci.
Merci. Merci beaucoup. I have to apologize because I should tell you that this little CD has such famous songs as O Solo Mio The Godfather Waltz. Let's see. Oh, what was it? Santa Lucia, cara mia, arrivederci Roma. Just a second. And now we have the wonderful, the mature and magical, the mystical, the mighty Edward Mike Hugh, who will come to the microphone and approach it gingerly, carefully, quietly, surreptitiously. There's another word in there, but I can't remember what it is. I was going to say mellifluously, but that doesn't work at all. No, mellifluously doesn't work with approaching. You can't say.
Clap it up for Edward!
Edward, come on! And then we got Al, then me, then Greg. Oh my God! What a time we're having. My mom told me not to do this.
Many of you probably have known for years, or a short time, Phyllis Holliday, who read here, and she's read all over town since the 1970s, and she just passed away.
I'm sorry to hear that.
And so she and I have been friends for many years. And when she had her 80th birthday, her son Ted Soros, who's the actor, he gave her a nice big party, and we ate our hearts out. So here, I'm reading this for Phyllis.
Right.
This one. Grains of sand we drift in with our melodies. One day, some others could recall us, who in turn may be remembered. In the general drift, we in our lives will add our grain of sand to time's beach. I look out from Ocean Beach in San Francisco, California, the edge of my local pond, at those little grains, thinking of our shared humanities. My personal sorrows are sheathed in love, golden memory continuously burnished. Memento mori, we say, remembering our dead. I remember that I will join them, and then I will thank them.
Right. Phyllis Holliday, right?
For Phyllis Holliday.
Thank you.
When I first knew her, she was still Phyllis Spiros. She had 3 children. Ted's one of the 3. Jane was another. Dimitri died last year. And she was well known in the theater community. She wrote novels. She was well known as an active unionist and an actor and a playwright. She did a lot of things. And maybe this might have some connection. It's called A Harvest of Destinations. A harvest of destinations is a gathering of ends, and we are the windings in those paths of stones, scratched slates, tracking the weight of distance, spiraling into unfamiliar manners where rocks pile up. There is so much time to take, to do, so much private nature, and this is the wall. We move here as history hangs over the lagoon that was the lake that covers the road that does not lead. Cloud daggers take shape from growing fears. There's no moon to explore, and memories promise coming into our beds in dreaming from opposite directions. Crosswinds sing a whiter world, a cavity of graspable night. What has been squandered is the rain of a mire of stars proposing union, last heard, falling, shimmering. Thank you.
Thank you, Ed Michael.
For Phyllis Holliday.
Thank you. And is it P-H-Y-L-L-I-S?
Yeah, P-H-Y-L-L-I-S. P-H-Y-L-L-I-S. Phyllis
H-O-L-I-D-A-Y.
H-O, 2 L's.
2 L, okay.
She's
Okay.
a double.
Yeah, okay. Just want to
Double
make sure I got it
double
spelled right so I can
double.
honor the individual in question.
Yeah. She's
All right.
a great guy, great woman. I think she must be about 82 now.
Okay. We have Al Nightingale coming up next. Give him a nice welcome. Can
Al Nightingale.
give him a nice hand as he comes up here. And there you go. I just didn't want to make sure we had a chance there. Oh, for this?
Recently I published a new book and I decided to recite some poems.
All right.
The name of the book is Toast in the House. By the solid wall of grapes, Crimea, like an ingot lies in my palm. Boys raise snails who are placid and calm, and exclude the dew trail over here. This efficiency scent, the sea is keeping the air of dry needles and sands. As before, you see there a hippie treading cautiously his contrabands. In a worn-out sailor's headgear, upturning his face to the sky, the sea is blinking because of the high. Chewing gum around the pier. After God finished his gold weaving, he spread over it a rusty bag. Just a golden gate there is seen, like a needle's eye in Kardec. When getting one of the secluded corners, I watched the slowly proceeding rabble. On trifling fennel faces, there are torments of all these backyards, world of daily troubles. They tortured by a love, a paranoia, a dozens of uncertain beams and riddles from cliffs on which its parachutists from the sea stretched to them top chords of ripples. It's time for them to recognize the sound in alleys of the leafy-looking twigs where the gray-haired dogs of the stray beach are harrowing and furrowing the ground. But where the gypsy woman, while gypsy woman that you look toward, splash in the water in their nightgowns on their chiseled bodies of nude mermaids, you couldn't snap a collared chain with gums. Some freak in front of me appearing, sneaks through the crowd endlessly and popping up further than here. He slips some amulet to me. Is it a catheter he passes, or could it be some opera glasses?
Thank you. All right. As you might fear, this brings you to me, or me to you. So I'm going to get up here. Oh, my God.
Dan Brady.
Dan Brady.
I'm sorry that I'm here having to read things like this too. All right, I'm not going to read that one.
Good.
Oh, Jesus. So these are two, and they are very different. So I'm going to read the one that's more difficult first. At least the one I think is more difficult. cut you off. So this is based on a news story from early on in the Syrian civil war, where they mentioned the fact, the salient fact was that at that time there were over 1,500 different groups in Syria, and having their own different ways of doing this, that, and the other, and so here we go. 1,500 groups in Syria with names, flags, funding, and arms, each believing a friend of a friend is a friend, friend of an enemy is an enemy, and the enemy of their enemy must be a friend. Each changes up their mix as needed, each trolls their blistered landscape scouting competition, each a mote, a point of blight, tangled in webs of deceit, woven into a matrix of manufactured mayhem on an industrial scale, each on the make in a maelstrom of murder called Syria, the current textbook exemplar of the shock doctrine in its finest hour. Plagues of drug berserkers feeling no pain, zealous battle-weary warriors kick around rolling heads where the gods of this world have put the pedal to the full metal jacket. Their ferocious blades of political plasma melts their melting pot with lionized hate, where they intend to consume all things Syria. While as moths to the flame does a host, a new lost generation in want of the absolution of absolutism, seek out the security of hard-handed certainty, a truth they can pour their heated blood into, and these find the rat lines, smile at their sacrificial sweat, yearning to make their own brave new world. There's nothing like the ecstatic jubilation when they finally return fire for ire, spend that pent-up rage against the devolving civilization smeared with disgust, loathing at its egregious pandemic immorality, corruption, and wanton waste, damning it. Even as the great beast itself, in consummate madness, rips into its own corpus, claw and fang, gouging Syria-sized wounds where the host, those lost cast off, find refuge, and in these gory recesses do they fulminate into denizens of damnation. Dear Syria writhes under the lash of inflamed insanity as the West's own brightest and best feast on the sumptuous spread of redolent chaos. Every wanton act, every pound of flesh grist for their mill. This is no ordinary human hell. It is coddled of vice, the shape of things to come, a virulence of the heart, mind, and soul, for which there's no cure, for it's what the masters breed, a culture made for the leaking sores of chaos. And these monstrous offspring nursed on the teats of terror thrive on ruins and decay. Surely something wicked therein grows, the antithesis to civilization's thesis. Surely this would be a reasonable man's conclusion. Just as surely as this culture has been cultivated, it is no matter now that some long years into the future, the good doctor, at his master's behest, will try his damnedest to destroy that which they have now electrified into life. Politics, as unusual. Okay, so this is, you'll see how different that one is from this one. This is Dad. I don't remember many years after what your last words were to me, the anonymous ones, no doubt. You had no reason to believe you would never wake up again, did you? So you ever had those conversations, the talks about life, the proverbial birds and bees, for example, what it is to be a man? We never drank as men do, laughed or raged, cheered for our teams, came to understand war, looked at our medals, compared wounds, or shared tears for those dear ones lost to us in the storms only madmen and gods make. I avoided your funeral, remembered the long afternoon. I hid to see if I would be missed, heard the very full cars pull away. I hoped I wouldn't be forgotten, which I was, to my regret, which I feel 60 years later. Imagine that. I liked the way you imitated a harmonica, collected records as you did, stood up for others as Mom always said you would, was proud of the way she said I imitated you when I painstakingly looked through the bargain racks or keep things pin neat, symmetrical, and tidy. Oh, you were buried and must now be mostly dust. None of your friends are alive that I know of. None of your high school buddies, your work pals, your vet pals, your childhood sweethearts. Anyone? How would I know? And who visits your grave nowadays? I will. I'm planning on it anyway, my first time. From my experience with Tom, I do not know the language of the dead. I cannot hear from you, though I have written eternally yours over the years, and now add this note from a faraway time and place, one you may have imagined once in an idle day's chat in dappled shade near to your childhood home that I never saw. I speculate you may have gone into San Francisco in your dress best for a few beers, a dinner, a night on the town. Speculate that as you passed through the Bay Area when you were young and the world at war, you might have had time for the time of your life, unaware of all that was to come, such as love when you met Mom, and then, after the dust settled, coming back to New York, getting married, and heading up our whole fandamly, as we used to call it. Dad, I speak in tongues, just as Kathy said you did. Like you, I can get folks to laugh, cheer people up, and, one way or another, always give some love to anyone lucky enough to be there at the right time, in the fount of it, that I somehow learned never need be turned off, and how you always gave it away. I know, I feel it. That's another thing we have in common. Thank you, Dad.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you very much. My mother thanks you, my brothers, cousins, uncles, second best friends, second grade neighbors, cousins, second best neighbors, friends, cousins, uncle.
You missed somebody.
I missed somebody. All right, Mr. Greg Pond, will you kindly come forward? Oh, he's right there. Greg, give this man a round of applause. You know, well, you know how it is. He's the only one that I know that. Never mind. I'm not going to finish that.
That was a tough. That's a tough read to follow. No, that was really very, very good.
Thank you so much. Now you'll hear it.
No. Okay. Semester before last. They met semester before last in September, around 7:30 early. Student lounge, study couch, straight A average contenders, straight as an arrow pretenders. They reconnected one day late on their way to class, rushing past each other, opposite sides of campus. Then, by happenstance, one fast night, they crisscrossed paths in mid-November, a moment stolen after the coffee shop closed, when the moon rose so seductively behind thick bushes and trees, so discreetly as to leave no shadow and stir no breeze. In a December dawn, past post-final exams, pre-Christmas break, they discovered burning love in the embers that remained when most classmates escaped back home for the holidays. Once the old year was over, the school year resumed, with the next semester arriving too quickly, ending too soon. The time had come for one to leave, while the other still had a year to complete. And though their love couldn't quite compete with the miles that would grow between their lives or the people they'd later meet, they always knew if and when they saw each other again, they would finally remember their last semester together as college lovers and friends.
All right. Yeah, see? Didn't I tell you?
And an old one, Flame. Striking a match, my baby burns a candle within me, turns a page without regard for time, reads real slow so we can flicker for long hours, then watches the wick while I glow to sleep. And one more, I'm not sure about this one anyway. Quicksand Man. I stay up late until night slides into day, teetering on the edge of sleep while the quicksand man waits. I make the greatest effort to fend him off and stay awake, while there may be another poem to write or one more line to revise that if not now caught on paper will surely by morning escape and be lost by the first light of dawn, somewhere between a stretch and yawn. Better catch it quick before I drift, 'cause once I blink, it'll be gone. Slipping next to a siesta, my eyelids close then flicker like secret cold Venetian blinds. Attempting to watch TV I try, but find I keep drifting, repeatedly hitting the DVR rewind back to the same scene I keep missing for at least the umpteenth time, 'cause I swear I wasn't really sleeping, I was just resting my eyes. You're right. The quicksand man reigns with such narcoleptic glee, blowing dust in my face while the sheep are counting me. So he can sneak and spy my journal and critique my poetry. I even feel him stealing the white from my eyes, but I'm getting weaker. I can no longer put up a fight. I start to sink and then succumb, knowing once again I lost, he won. Now well past the doze, feel like I've fallen into a hole in the night. Meanwhile, the quicksand man, who I hear hates poetry and only likes prose, gets to criticize everything I write.
That's good fun. Excuse me, did you see me?
Oh, I'm just here to listen.
Oh, okay, all right. I said I didn't see a new name, and I wanted to make sure you're coming.
Thank you.
Now, Keith didn't come in. Keith Ekis, just checking. I saw somebody. You're not Keith, right? Just making sure. Oh yeah, I just want to make sure because I've never seen a photograph. I've only heard the voice, and clearly he's not here at this moment. And he would be the next thing I would get up there and unabashedly honor the individual. So what we're going to do now, since we do not have that, is we're going to take a brief break, a 5-minute, 7-minute-ish break. This thing will be set so that it will not broadcast anything. And then I will fix it after breaking it for the second half. So come back for the second half. We have Brett Benson, we got Melissa, Clyde Always, Zane, Garrett Murphy, and if Elizabeth shows up, we'll have her. So please stay around for that. And next week, who's like, Richard Sanderell and David, backed up by David Erdreich, are the features next week. So that should be a lot of fun. David plays the sax, and Richard gives us hell. So it's going to be a heck of a good time. So please schmooze as you need to schmooze, and apologize to those people who need to apologize for it. Start your 12-step program today.
I've got some state secrets. We may have to turn this off.
Yeah, well, watch me very carefully.